One of the biggest challenges I faced since I started running was finding a way to balance it with the gym. Originally, I found best case scenario, I would make progress in one while maintaining the other, and I think this is the same for most people. But I want to be better than that. I want to see significant improvement in all areas of my fitness journey. And if you're watching this video, you probably feel the same way. So with that in mind, I've come up with a 4-step formula for you to follow so that you can constantly progress in your running and your lifting. If you follow these tips, then it is literally impossible for you to not progress. So let's get into it. So the first thing we want to do is set a clear goal in both gym and running. This is going to give us purpose to work towards in both areas, but we need to make it as specific as possible. For example, instead of saying, I want to get stronger in the gym, you say, I want to be able to bench 110 kilograms. Or instead of saying, I want to run a faster 5K, you say, I want to run a sub 20 5K. And then we structure our whole routine around achieving these two goals. The more specific your goal, the easier it is to measure your progress. My current goals are to be able to bench 100 kilogram in dumbbells for 5 reps, 20 pull-ups, while also training for a 100-kilometer ultra marathon. So go away and have a think of what you really want to achieve in both running and lifting, and then you'll be ready for step 2. So with our goals in mind, this leads us on to step 2, where we structure our training and our diet around these 2 objectives. Here is how my routine looks day to day based on what I am trying to achieve. Looking at this, you might notice 2 things. The first is that only one day is a double. That's where I'm training gym and running on the same day. The second is that there is no dedicated leg day in my routine either. This is how you need to plan your routine. Everything needs to be intentional towards your goals. For example, if I incorporated legs into my routine, this would 100% affect my running performances. So as much as I enjoyed training them, I had to cut them out. I will find a way to reincorporate them back into my routine when I start training for aesthetics. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you can't have it all at once. So do some research online of how to achieve your current goal and build it into a routine while also getting rid of anything unnecessary. Also notice that I only have one day that is a double because I like to put all my energy into either gym or running on a given day. The day that is a double, I prioritize the gym because the run is an easy one and I can very easily run a half marathon in zone 2 after a gym workout. Also, your whole diet needs to be centered around these 2 goals as well. For example, if you're training to get shredded, then you might have fewer carbs compared to if you're training for strength like me. I have a video here on diet so you can help build a diet plan based on what you're trying to achieve. So you know what you want and you know what you need to do to achieve it. So the next thing you need to do is filter out anything unnecessary that's going to hinder your progress. Most of this will center around diet and lifestyle. For example, let's say you like to go out and drink on a weekend, or you order fast food once or twice a week. Things like this are just going to slow you down. The more of these things that are centered around your goals, the faster you will achieve them. But here's the reality. If you're not willing to make sacrifices, then you just don't want it badly enough. For me, my diet and lifestyle are always centered around my training, but I have had to make sacrifices with my social life. But remember, once you have achieved your goals, then you can relax and enjoy yourself a little bit more. The more sacrifices you're willing to make, the better your results. The final step is recovery, and your recovery routine is just as important as your training one. I've talked a lot about recovery in previous videos, so I'm going to list everything I do for recovery in order of importance. Firstly, and most importantly, you need to prioritize your sleep. Fixing your sleeping pattern and getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night is a superpower. I started training for my ultra marathon in May, and since then I've only had 1 full rest day. I've done a 50-kilometer run on a Sunday and been in the gym the next day benching 95 kilograms. But here is the best part, I have not been ill once throughout all of this training. And I would say 80% of this is down to my sleeping pattern being on point. To fix your sleep, pick the time you want to wake up every single morning. Count back 9 hours, and that's the time you need to be in bed with the lights off. The better you sleep, the better your quality of life. You want to stretch every muscle group 3 times a week. This is something I've always done, and I believe it's the main reason that I haven't been injured throughout all my training. It's also going to improve our running form and our range of motion in the gym. Massage guns are a game changer for when it comes to improving your running recovery. When I was marathon training earlier in the year, my soleus and tibialis went through some serious adaptation pains from all the increased mileage I was doing. However, I started using the massage gun on these areas daily, and since then I've had no problem. I fully recommend getting one of these if you have the money and making use of it daily so you can keep your legs fresh and recovered. Ice baths are an ideal tool for recovery from both our running and our gym session. I do these first thing in the morning so it sets you up for the rest of the day and allows plenty of time since your last gym session so you're not losing any gains. If you want an in-depth guide of how to get started with ice baths, then check out the video above. But that's everything for this video. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. Thank you.